It was recently announced that Kingdom Hearts 3 would be getting its DLC pack known as the Remind DLC. Kingdom Hearts isn't really a stranger to having additional content, but this is the first time that it's actually going to be downloadable content other than a re-release of the game. These re-releases were known as the Final Mix versions, which oftentimes brought some of the best aspects of that game. For example, Kingdom Hearts 2 was improved greatly with more secret bosses, including one of the best in the series known as the Lingering Will, with also more abilities that made the game a whole lot better, such as dodge roll, which actually wasn't in the original Kingdom Hearts 2 game. We find ourselves in a pretty good spot right now, as we don't know everything about the DLC, but what we have seen looks pretty promising. There are a whole lot of people out there who were a little disappointed in certain aspects about Kingdom Hearts 3, so this could be a good time for Square to address those issues and make the game a whole lot better for a lot of fans. I will address some of my personal issues with the game in this top 5, however I will not be touching any core aspects of the game that gives it its own identity. In other words, you won't see me asking for any changes to the main story or any big changes to the main core of the combat mechanics. I also don't believe that they will be doing that anyway. This list is based off of what we already have in Kingdom Hearts 3 and what I think could be made as minute changes to make the game pretty much perfect. Now, there's only so much that they can do and probably want to do to change the game, so I do believe that we should keep our expectations a little bit lower, but with new playable characters, new Keyblades and new Keyblade transformations, and with promises from Nomura that we will be getting some great new additions, I do believe that we are going to be set up for a pretty good package. Also, this video will contain spoilers. So without any further ado, let's get into our top 5. With every numbered Kingdom Hearts game comes a huge action set piece at the end of the game, with some kind of otherworldly realm that only Tetsuya Nomura could have come up with. Kingdom Hearts 3 is no different, with Scala at Caelum being one of the coolest and most breathtaking places I've ever been to in a video game. The worst part about it though, is that there is barely anything to do in this world other than battle, and you really can't explore much of it. That's why in the Remind DLC, I really hope that they expand Scala at Caelum. One idea I had is that right before the final boss, Sora could go through the clock tower and maybe see where Xehanort and Ericus lived, maybe do a couple battles with some kind of ghost version of them, or their armor. I thought that would be really cool and give you some more backstory on Xehanort. Now this may be treading a little bit on the storyline that I said I wouldn't cross. However, I feel like it's only adding enjoyment to the player and not really taking away or really adding too much to the overarching plot. So I'm letting this one slide. I don't think this would be too much to ask for since they already did this in the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix where they added in the Roxas fight. It didn't take away anything from the story that was already there, it just added more to how Sora felt towards Roxas. I think they can do something like that. If anything, they should expand it for exploration purposes or maybe as post-game content for a different character with a side quest. I do think it's very important, especially if they want to move further with this area, that they add to it now while we've already been there. If you try to clip your way through the walls of this area, there's a lot textured and many areas have collision technology, so hopefully it wouldn't be too much trouble. Having extra Keyblades in the Final Mix is always a staple, and right now we already know that this is no different for Kingdom Hearts 3 with the new Oathkeeper Keyblade that has a Keyblade transformation. I'm really hoping that we get some more Keyblades for the Final Mix version, especially since we really didn't get too many in the overall game. Looking back, it's not too bad since they all had such unique transformations and they were very well designed, so it didn't bother me too much, but I would like to see some more. In all honesty, I'm totally fine with them reusing transformations like second form or maybe they use the Oathkeeper form again, but I would just like to see some more Keyblades. Nomura has already confirmed that there will be more bosses than Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix added, which is pretty insane since they had all Organization 13 members and the Lingering Will. And one of my favorite parts of doing a secret boss is getting a Keyblade that represents them afterwards. For example, Vanitas' Lingering Spear gave you a Keyblade that looked just like his, and it was really cool to get that. With all those bosses, we're definitely going to need some Keyblades as rewards, so I hope that they get on that, and it's totally fine if they reuse some forms here and there. We got a pretty weird cliffhanger at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, and right now we really don't know where the future of the series is headed. It could really go anywhere right now, and that's why I'm really hoping that with the DLC pack, we get at least some hint of where the future is going and what we can expect. From the trailers, we can already tell that there will be some cutscenes related to the story in the DLC pack. So hopefully they can include some details of what is actually going on with Sora and what the characters are doing about his fate. We at least know that Riku is trying to save him, but maybe we can get some other parts that show that the other characters are also trying to save him as well. This may all be reserved for another Kingdom Hearts game, but I do really hope that they give us at least something just to hold us over. It might be years until we find out what actually happens next, so if we could get at least a couple hints or just something that would give us a direction of where the series is going, that would be really helpful and I would really appreciate that. Like I mentioned, it already does look like we are getting some kind of story related sequences that will further the plot at least a little bit, so I guess you can count this hope as me hoping that it actually makes sense. I would really like it to be a little bit less secretive as a secret ending, so that's what I hope for as number 3. Now this one might seem a little vague at first, but just hear me out. Now we can assume that this is pretty much going to be the final mix version of Kingdom Hearts 3, even though it's not going to be called that. Perhaps there will be a physical release later down the road that will be called Final Mix, that will include the original game and the DLC. But even so, I really hope that the DLC still feels like a final mix. And by that I mean, like the artwork for example. For the Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, etc., they all had specific designed artwork for the final mix. And it was their box arts for when they would come out as a physical release, but this would be downloadable content. So in that case, I still hope that we get that kind of artwork. More examples of this would be even the menu art changes into an exclusive Final Mix artwork, so I hope we get that kind of treatment as well. Essentially, this is more of just, I want it to be treated as its own thing, as a Final Mix, instead of just an expansion pack or a DLC pack. I want it to all fit in the game as perfectly as it does in Kingdom Hearts 2 and in Birth by Sleep and such. So hopefully they can reach that mark. It looks like they will, but I just gotta hope for it anyway. So this DLC is going to be called Remind, but what does that even mean? This could be about certain characters trying to relearn their past, and while this could fit the mold of many characters in the Kingdom Hearts series, I believe it will fit Roxas, Axel, and Xion. Now we already have a playable Roxas, so it could be a pretty good bet, and the story could fit pretty well too. Maybe Roxas and Xion don't remember what happened since they gave themselves up, so Axel has to help them remember, and Hayner, Pence, and Oleg can help out too since they were such an important part of the Twilight Town plot. And this ties in with my number 1 hope. This is pretty much my biggest disappointment about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I really hope the DLC can fix it. That being Twilight Town. Now it might be surprising that that's my biggest disappointment with the game, but it was one of my biggest expectations that fell really short. I wanted a huge and expansive Twilight Town, and we got a really small one. Now granted, I gotta give it to them, what we have is still pretty amazing, and I find myself going there all the time. I really love Twilight Town, and I was hoping they would really dive into it this time around, and now they have a second opportunity to do so since it might be about the DLC pack. I mean, they have a lot of it modeled already. You can tell from looking on top of the rooftops that pretty much the whole place is modeled, so I would really like to see them utilize all those assets and make something really great. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What are your hopes for the Remind DLC? And until next time, I'll see you guys later.